Let's do a coolant flush on my Ducati A48. We're going to be taking off the side, bottom, and nose fairings. There is a way to do this flush without having to take off the nose. However, it requires you to pump the coolant back in through where we're going to drain it. My bike is having some issues right now, so I just want to take off the whole front so I can see what's going on. So now that I have it up on the stand, it's time to take off all these pieces. The side fairings are pretty straightforward. It's the nose that can be the tricky part because it has a lot of screws that are kind of hidden around. Once you do find all those hidden little screws, the front does come off very easily. If you're like me and have blinkers instead of side mirrors, you will have to disconnect some of the cables. Now that that's done, there's just one more black piece that we need to take off. And now we have access to this air hose, which sits on top of the radiator. It has some screws that we will need to remove to be able to get this air hose off. I only showed you two, but there are three, as well as one in the front. Once it's off, it just pops off really easily. It's nice. And now, not only do we have access to the radiator cap, but we also can take a look at our air filter. Mine's not looking all that bad. Here's a video with some lights so you can kind of see it. My bike's been running pretty poorly, so I'll probably change this anyways since we're gonna be in the area. Okay, I feel like you've seen enough of my air filter. Let's put this away. Okay, so now we're gonna come over to this other side here, and this screw that I'm about to show you is where your coolant is gonna come out of. I'm gonna loosen it while keeping the radiator cap on because I don't want all of this to gush out all at once. I want a little baby gush. I wanna control it. So this is with the radiator cap still attached. And this is with the radiator cap off. Don't be like me. This stuff splashes. Get a bucket. Don't use an oil pan. So I'm going to start rocking and leaning my bike to try to get the rest of that coolant out of there. We're also going to be removing that bottom tube. Detaching that tube just helps get the rest of that fluid out of there and as much of the fluid out of the radiator as we can. So this is the tube I was talking about. Here we're detaching it. I forgot to show this step, but I use this hand pump to get the extra coolant out of this little reservoir. And this is on the right side of the bike under where that air vent was. Don't forget to do that. Okay, everything's hooked back up. We're about to flush the system out with 50% distilled water, 50% vinegar. Turn your bike on, let it get up to temp. Once your fan kicks on, turn the bike off, let it cool completely. I found one of my problems. My radiator is leaking. Hopefully yours isn't. So you should be able to drain out all that water like we did the coolant, put in the new coolant, give the hoses a squeeze, give the bike a little bit of a shake, run it like we did with the distilled water, and then top it off as needed. I hope this video was helpful. Stay tuned for radiator replacement.